Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and if you know anything about me, you know I love the Pokemon TCG and looking at Pokemon cards and all that cool stuff. And if you don't know anything about me, then welcome to the channel. I'm 10 Types, and yeah, you should subscribe and like and stuff. But I, love looking at new Pokemon TCG expansions and new cards and all the things like that. And I love to get hyped for them as well. But unfortunately, and if you've been playing the Pokemon TCG within the last like year or something like that, since maybe Phantasmal Flames or something like that, you know that a lot of these new sets aren't super, what's the word? Good, I guess. I'm, of course, excited for Pitch Black, and I think there are some super cool cards in it, but I don't think it's legitimately super good. I think it's, okay, but I'm not expecting big meta changes. And with Deltarune, I want to take a look at this set. Deltarune, by the way, is the same expansion as Storm Emeralda. Storm Emeralda is releasing in Japan soon. I don't actually remember exactly when it's releasing, but I know it's releasing pretty soon. And Deltarune is releasing a lot later internationally. This has to do with the 30th celebration set and just some stuff that I'm not going to dive into in today's video, but the set is pretty cool. And when I first saw it, I thought the set was legitimately super good. But today I want to take a second look here and, break it down and see whether these cards are actually that good, looking through them with, less hype goggles. And I'm just going to be looking through them and seeing exactly if they are going to be good, if they have potential, and just kind of looking at them. But let's just hop right in here. We got Sableye. Sableye and Mega Malamar have been revealed since I looked at these cards for the first time, and they're not that good. I'm not going to lie. Theoretically, some cards could have been revealed since I recorded this as well. If that's the case and anything's huge, I'll leave it in the comments section. If not, it'll be in a future video. But Sableye here it can put 5 damage cards on one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's like, whatever. And Lure Eye for 1 darkness. Reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. You may choose any number of basic Pokemon you find, then put them onto their bench, and they shuffle the rest back. So this isn't super good. Wanted to talk about it, and honestly, it has some cool art. I'm not going to lie. I do like this style, but it's not very good there. Unsurprisingly, Inkay here, not very good. Discarding random cards for your opponent's hand for 1 darkness and doing 10. Admittedly, effects like this, I guess, could be annoying and could be good if you get super lucky, but, people don't play these, and you need to get lucky for them to be good. And obviously, its previous evolution probably not going to be so good here. Also, these cards are in Pokemon proxies. They are obviously translated here into English, but this isn't necessarily the final translations, specifically of like attack names and ability names and stuff like that. But in terms of effects, it should be all good. But Mega Malamar EX here, this is the first Mega we are taking a look at. There are only 2. Mega Malamar we can do 200 for 3 in Confusion, or for 2 Darkness here, you do 70, and then it does 70 for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Theoretically, this could swing for a bunch of damage. Obviously, the idea here is to pair it with the Sableye to get like Pokemon onto your opponent's bench. Realistically, if you're playing this, your opponent will have a few Pokemon on their bench, maybe 3, maybe 4. You're swinging for like 210, 280. It's okay. Certainly, it's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. It's pretty mediocre. I'd say this is somewhat comparable to Mega Lucario EX, and if you know much about Mega Lucario EX, 1, it's not that versatile, and 2, I mean, it's fine, but the good stuff is all the stuff around it. So Mega Lucario EX at this card's ceiling isn't so impressive. Theoretically, you could be taking big one-shots if they have a full bench. You're one-shotting most things there. The full bench of 5, it could be even bigger with Area Zero Underdepths. That's certainly not reliable there, though. How do you get your opponent's Pokemon onto your opponent's bench? I feel like there's some way that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Oh, there's Mandibuzz in Standard. I love that card. Super fun. It's not super good, though. And honestly, like, it's kind of doable, but it's not super doable. The payoff is pretty mediocre here. This is, again, the, like, big, quote, new card that I haven't covered on the channel before, but it's not super good. Would I be shocked if it sees play? Honestly, probably, yeah. I mean, maybe we see more support for it, but like Darkness has a bunch of support. Most of the Darkness stuff is pretty mediocre, to be honest, though, even with some of the support it has. And that support doesn't necessarily have that much synergy with Mega Malamar either here. Then you have Mega Rayquaza EX. Mega Rayquaza EX, theoretically, I do want to say, does have synergy with, like every new card from the set, theoretically, but it's not, like, amazing synergy. And I actually got this card wrong, I think, when I first read it, because it has the ability Champion's Roar. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you can use this ability. You look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you attach the basic energy you find there to this Pokemon, shuffle the rest back. Or sorry, you shuffle the rest and put them on the bottom. So you can get 1 energy here, and then you attach. And you still can't even attack, because your attack cost is Fire, Lightning, Colorless. It is also interesting, it is a colorless Pokemon. Of course, Rayquaza is a flying type in the video game, so it's translated as colorless here with lightning weakness, fighting resistance, but it can also be a dragon type, and then it would have 2 different types of energy and its like attack cost, which is what we see here. It's like this weird in between. We see this with Rayquaza from time to time. Rayquaza is honestly kind of weird. And dragon types are kind of weird as well. And this card, though, reminds me some of Rayquaza VMAX. It doesn't really remind me of Rayquaza EX. Oh, where is it? Rayquaza EX for any Rayquaza EX fans. This card was good. There weren't as many deck lists, but it was good. And then Rayquaza VMAX was not so good. Funnily enough, has more deck lists, but was pretty bad. So this I expect to not be very good. This is in some ways the card that is the most. I mean, it's the card that set's named after. So people want to get hyped for it. I mean, this is better than Mega Darkrai. Oh, the attack, by the way, Storm Emeralda, which again is the name of the Japanese expansion. It does 50 times the amount of fire and lightning energy attached to all your Pokemon in play. Theoretically, could be doing big damage, but even in that situation where it's like one-shotting everything, you are still a relatively low HP 3 prizer that is 3 energy to power itself up. So that's pretty clunky. Getting energy on your other Pokemon is kind of doable in some ways, but it's not even super doable. And as I said, there is synergy with a lot of other cards in the set, but the synergy is like fine. Some of the other cards are good, but Mega Rayquaza EX ultimately it's not that good. The damage you're doing is also, as I said, like fine, but just getting the energy on is kind of awkward. We've seen cards like this in the past. If we look at, let's see, oh, I did not do that right. I'm trying to talk and type at the same time, but we look at the basic Megas and Standard. Yes, they are like some of them are decent. Obviously, Mega Kangaskhan EX is very good, which we'll be talked about in just a moment. But it's not because of its attack. And its attack is pretty solid, arguably better than Mega Rayquaza EX's attack. And then Mega Latios EX is the most similar card in my opinion, doing 300 for 3 here. Yes, Mega Rayquaza EX can do more theoretically. I would say it's definitely easier to power up Mega Latios EX. If you didn't know, there's a Latios that essentially the best way to play this, if you want to use the second attack, is going to be Mega Latios EX with Latios, and then also Ethan Toho EX, and then you can power it up pretty easily there. This card hasn't really, been used very much though, and it's just been like I thought this card was going to be pretty solid. It's not been solid. It's been pretty bad. So ultimately, just a big basic isn't super good. There's some weakness stuff. We could dive into all the intricacies of it, but ultimately, I think it is kind of similar to Mega Rayquaza EX. And then you look at something like, I don't know. I mean, there's some other Megas that are kind of similar to it. Either they have less upside or they have something like Mega Dancy EX is, it's less energies here and more reliable. So Mega Rayquaza EX not super reliable really at all. The ability isn't super reliable. It's not terrible. It's like nice to have, but ultimately there's not too much to say about this card. Or there's not too much to see with this card. I don't, there's we could talk about it. I've talked about a bunch here in this video, but like it doesn't have what it needs to be a good card. I was going to do this in like a tier list style video. I'm sure at some point I will, but I'd say this card's probably in C tier, looking at like maybe competitive-ish, or like could maybe sneak into some stuff, but it's not that good. Honestly, Mega Malamar EX is probably about as good as Mega Rayquaza EX, and this card is like not very appealing there. Then we have the other cards, though, obviously skipping the previous evolutions, not much to see here, though I guess you could Retreat Lock or something. But Talonflame EX is really interesting here. Talonflame EX, to be honest, will not be playing the previous evolutions, most likely. It is a free retreat Pokemon. It is a 280 HP colorless Pokemon like Mega Rayquaza EX, but it is a 2-prizer, though it is a stage 2. However, you can use the ability Excited Dive if it's in your hand and you have a colorless Mega Pokemon in play, then you can use this ability and just put it onto your bench. So then you can just play it down. That's super good, obviously. Having a colorless Mega in play is not too bad. Let's see. Oh wait, this is Oh, apparently we got Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, but you got Mega Lopunny EX, Mega Audino EX, and Mega Kangaskhan EX, as well as Mega Rayquaza EX. Mega Rayquaza EX, by the way, I think is definitely the worst of those 4. Mega Lopunny EX is pretty solid. It is an evolution. I talked a lot about this Talonflame EX when it was first revealed, so I'm not going to dive into it fully in terms of like all the different use cases of it, but long story short, Mega Kangaskhan EX is very good, and so playing Mega Kangaskhan EX not bad. It doesn't go in every deck in the game. But I mean, it kind of could, and it goes into a lot of different decks, and it can be the focus of a deck. And then Talonflame EX here is something you could just play down onto your bench. It's not really a liability. Yes, it has less HP than Mega Kangaskhan EX by 20, and it gives up one less prize card. Also does have a different weakness. It resists the type that Mega Kangaskhan EX is weak to, which could be nice there. You will still need to play the Mega Kangaskhan EX down, but it is kind of cool to have that resistance there. And then the attack here for 2 colors is where we need to really talk about it. For 150, or for 2 colors to do 150, and then search for any 2 cards, reveal and put them, or sorry, any 2 cards you put them into your hand. You don't reveal them because they're any 2 cards, not specific cards. So this is good, I guess. The damage isn't amazing, but it's not like, I was gonna say it 2-shots, but it doesn't even 2-shot everything. Like, it doesn't 2-shot Dragapult, though. Using Talonflame EX into Mega Kangaskhan EX or vice versa would 2-shot Dragapult. Could 1-shot, I suppose. But Talonflame there, the damage isn't great. I definitely like it if it was even like 20 more, being able to 1-shot Meowth EX, and certainly if it was like 210 is what you're kind of hoping it to be, and it's just not there. As far as I'm aware, there aren't great ways to buff it. I could be missing something. I mean, there's like Kieran or Black Belt's training, but they're not really getting you quite to where you want to be either. So I don't think there's a great way to buff this. Again, I could be forgetting something, but it doesn't feel amazing. Also, just think about this. You couldn't use this with Bouffalant because Bouffalant buffs basic colorless Pokemon. This plays very similarly to them, but it's not a basic. Searching away 2 cards, then we need to kind of evaluate the value of this, because 150 isn't terrible, it's just mediocre. When you're treating this, again, like a basic Pokemon here, you look at it and you have like high HP, free retreat, but then, 150 for 2, not great. You can use this with it. Wait, 1 second. You can use this with Ignition Energy, right? Yeah, it's an evolution Pokemon. It wouldn't be an evolved Pokemon, but it is an evolution Pokemon. So you could use this with Ignition Energy to attack there, or with Crispin, probably what you're going to be doing, because Ignition Energy doesn't have any synergy with Mega Kangaskhan EX. Crispin has lots of synergy there, and going to be played. So I think Talonflame EX slots decently in there, but then Search for 2 cards is all right. It's like, it seems really good, but your opponent can hit you with hand disruption. Also, it can be a little slow. You need to, I mean, it's not super slow if you use this like turn 1, it's really good, but if you're attacking a decent chunk of damage, like, and you're kind of set up turn 1, then you're already set up and you don't need more cards. I mean, more cards are certainly always nice, but and then if you aren't set up, you're probably not even attacking, so it's not going to help you set up if you can't use it. I think these setup attacks often end up, specifically setup attacks that require some setup themselves, end up in this really awkward spot of just being not very good. For example, Mega Gardevoir EX is a Pokemon like this. I don't think this is as bad as Mega Gardevoir EX. That card's quite bad. I heard people saying that card was like so good, and I didn't see it. I'm not right on everything that I predict, but I was right on that one. And Talonflame EX, these setup attacks are like this. The value of the setup is okay. The value of the damage is okay. And the value of the Pokemon is okay, and the cost of it isn't that bad. So I think this card might see play paired with Mega Kangaskhan EX and, some big basic box stacks with like Crispin or whatever, and that's okay. Ultimately, I thought this card was super sick, and I'm excited to play it, no pun intended there, but I don't expect it to be some super good Pokemon. Also, having Free Retreat is kind of cool, having a pivot, but you're probably playing Latias EX. Latias EX ain't too much of a liability there. So, I just think it's okay. I mean, it's not bad, right? I'd put this Pokemon maybe in B tier, seeing some legitimate competitive play, but not being super good. I could even see it a little lower than that, like B or C tier, though I do think it is probably B tier. I mean, I really like this card, but I don't know if its impact is going to be super high. So somewhere in that BC range, which is okay, and it honestly is probably the best card of these as well. We have Adventuring Lantern. This card's kind of, I was gonna say cool. I don't know. I mean, it's an item. It searches for basic fire energy and a basic lightning energy. You reveal and put them into your hand, then shuffle. Also, there's a typo here on Pokemon Praxis. Pokemon Praxis team, you got 2 periods. But yeah, no. So this card searches for 2 basic energies, but they're of different types and specific types. It's kind of like, it's okay. I mean, we've seen cards like this in the past, like Earthen Vessel or like Professor's Letter, or like even Energy Search maybe, or which we have in standard, which is okay, or something like I'm blanking on it. Capacious Bucket. There we go. Capacious Bucket is kind of similar, searching for two basic water energies, but they're the same type. So this is searches for different types, so it goes in a very specific deck. I was thinking through the use cases, maybe Serial Edge, but that's not amazing there. I mean, it's not an amazing deck. I think it's a little underrated, but it's also not an amazing use case there because Fit and Lightning Energy in is doable, but a little awkward. And I mean, getting it's just not super useful. It's not terrible. I'd probably put the oh man, no, it's probably C or D tier to be honest. Like the upside isn't very high, but the cost of playing this card isn't that high either. It's like it's okay, I guess. If you played like Dragapult Iron Thorns, you'd probably chuck this in, I imagine. Not that that's that good. I'm sure there are some decks where this is just pretty solid in, though I imagine those decks are pretty niche, and it's like I can't really imagine this ever being amazing. Theoretically, I guess it's here for Mega Rayquaza EX. Like that's the idea, except it doesn't have like any synergy with it. Well, it does because it's the same types of energy, but like you don't really want the energies in your hand. You want them in your deck for the ability, and yeah, it's just kind of weird. So it's not that good. Not too much to say there. Then we got Mega Rayquaza Cap. This card's super weird because like, why is there a Mega Rayquaza on this card? It has something to do with Mega Rayquaza, but only like kinda. It's weird. But it's an okay card here. It's really weird again for a bunch of reasons. It gives you an attack you can use like the technical machines. It does stay on as well. It doesn't fall off at the end of the turn unless you use Delta Gift, searching for a Biscuit Energy, attaching it to each Pokemon that has Mega Rayquaza Cap attached to it, including itself. So it can be used as this like weird TM Turbo Energized style card. Theoretically a higher ceiling, though realistically it will be worse. TM Turbo Energize was a card I thought was going to be really good, ended up just being not super good, playable but not great. Probably a C tier card to be honest. Mega Rayquaza Cap, probably a little worse than that. Probably D tier. I mean, ultimately, Tool Search isn't very good in standard. There are ways to kind of make this work, but they're not great. And the upside is just okay. I think this could see play in Crustle, in standard, or a Walls deck. This is something that fits pretty well in. I think that's where like kind of the stars are aligning, and you have a really good use case though. Like the Dream Heroes, you get a bunch of these in play, get a bunch of energy, but you look at something like Joltik. Joltik's fine. And Joltik is really just like an amazing version of a card like this. Even something like Smoochum is kind of an amazing version of a card like this, where it's like really low maintenance and getting decent value. The value could be even higher, but just getting this in play is super clunky. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's not great. So this card is really fun, but ultimately not super good. MC Sight, by the way, is not a new card. It's a new art, but not a new card. And also, if you don't know, it's not very good. If you didn't know, it's because you probably haven't seen it, so you could probably figure out it's not too good. And then Zinnia's Trust, this card also unfortunately not super good. It's a switch, and then if you do, you can move an energy, or you have to move an energy from your old active to your new active. I mean, switches on supporters usually aren't. I mean, they can be okay. It kind of depends, but the upside, like the other part of it, needs to be good. And this is an energy switch, a more limited energy switch than regular energy switch. Well, it can move a special energy, so that's cool. I mean, you can do some cool stuff with this, I guess, but mostly it's very gimmicky. Kind of reminds me of End's Plan. End's Plan isn't very good. I played with a little bit of End's Plan in some different like basic box decks. Tell me in the comment section if you play this card more than me, like how good you found it. I found it, to be niche, good at times, but mostly a niche card that's not super good. I feel like that's got to be a pretty accurate analysis of that card. And Zinnia's Trust is probably in a very similar boat there. Theoretically, actually does allow you to power up a Mega Rayquaza EX in one turn, but I mean, it's not great. It probably just use Energy Switch. Energy Switch is pretty good. Zinnia's Trust is not very good here. A Switch isn't super useful. And then moving energy also isn't like super useful. And you need to like move them in a certain way. It's just pretty clunky. Then we have Legendary Summit. Certainly the weirdest card in the set. Definitely the coolest. Well, I say card. It's like two cards that combine into one. It's a stadium. You just play them at the same time. And then sorry, I need to read this card. I'm turning my head sideways. When knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, both players colorless Pokemon give up one of those prize cards. Also, that wording is super clunky. This card will actually be pretty easy to read. Well, I don't know, like relatively easily to read for a stadium. in physical play because we'll be facing both players, which is actually kind of nice. But it's, this card is, in terms of how good it is, giving up one less prize with colorless Pokemon is good. Certainly, you look at good colorless Pokemon, and they do exist. You look at a lot of them as support Pokemon, which isn't super useful. And you have to play, the two together here. And both sides, by the way, do the same thing. I think I saw a little bit of confusion about that, but they do both do the same thing. I hope they will continue to both do the same thing. I've kind of complained a little bit about double-sided stadiums in the past, though they can be fun, more of a custom card thing than an actual card thing, in my opinion, though. But I mean, ultimately, this is clunky to get into play. Getting stadiums is kind of hard. You can use like Noctowl or something. So if Maniacs code breaking with Mega Kangaskhan maybe could legitimately be usable, because I mean that's something that is used. Certainly, like those cards together are usable. So Techie and this maybe. The issue is your opponent probably just bumps it. And I mean, this reminds me of Neutralization. What's the card? Neutralization Zone? Yeah, Neutralization Zone. This card is. I mean, I played with it some and played against it some, and it's usually useless. Like your opponent plays it and then it gets bumped. I mean, maybe not useless, but pretty useless. Stopping damage from Rule-X Pokemon to non-Rule-X Pokemon essentially is what you're doing here. This card, I mean, again, it could theoretically win you the game or something like that, but in practicality, your opponent probably just bumps it. And this card's hard to get into play. It's not an A-spec. You could theoretically play 2 copies of it because you could play 2 copies of each side. I mean, you could recover it as well. You can actually recover a Neutralization Zone, but like the upside here is nice. Neutralization Zone, there's like stops damage. This doesn't stop damage. It reduces the prize cards your opponent takes, which can be really good. Can legitimate, like if this was a regular stadium, it would be broken. But I think it's just really difficult to get into play. It requires a lot of resource commitment, and the upside is solid, but your opponent can bump it pretty easily. So, this card is, unfortunately, I think pretty bad. It is funny. Overall, these set of cards here, I think a lot of them are super cool, but I think the upside just isn't. I mean, the upside is kind of decent, but the cost of a lot of these cards is pretty clunky. I think Talonflame EX probably the best of these cards, as I said. Decent, but not amazing. Overall, though, tell me in the comment section if did I miss something with one of these cards? Are any of these cards like secretly super, super good? Or did I like overrate any of these cards as well? I want to be unbiased and be honest with all my thoughts on these cards here, seeing them through less of like hype goggles, but also I'm being completely honest. I want these cards to be good, right? I want it to be fun. The metagame hasn't been super interesting recently. Well, I mean it's been fine, but it's not been changing, right? So seeing a bit more from some of these new reveals could be cool. I'm definitely excited for new ones. I hope they're good though. 30th Celebration looking real bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there are any good cards in that set outside of maybe Mew EX, and Greninja EX is like okay. There's some that are playable, but mostly that. There are also some cards from the special decks, the Mega decks or whatever, that I believe will be in this set. Delta Rain that aren't in Storm Emeralda. I don't think any of those are particularly good. There are some that are okay. At some point, I'll break those down further. Though I've broken them down in videos in the past as well. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section. And also, huge shout out to my YouTube members for supporting the channel. It really means a ton. And yeah, I will be updating this at some point this month, very soon. I haven't done it yet because I've been busy. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Of course, leave any video ideas down below in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.